Hello again, I'm Steve Gladys here at the George Mason's Enterprise Center here at George Mason University for Steve Gladys Leadership Partners. And we're getting down to the last part of the equation. We promised you we'd explain each one of those letters. Remember we said I was innovation, T was for talent, and E was environment. You had to have the right kind of talent, a motivated, engaged talent that was diverse, and was growth mindset. You needed to have them in a motivated environment. We talked about Maslow, we talked about Herzberg, and we talked about our model. And the last one, the P here, and I'll check it off for you here to make sure we have it sort of for completion. The lattice P is for process. Process. What we found out is that if you're going to have innovation actually take place, you have to have a process. You have to have some place for it to happen. You have to have a way for it to happen. A thing that's repeatable and reliable. Can you repeat it over and over again? And does it work? And does it kind of come up with the same? Does it come up with innovations time after time after time? And what we did is we combined several things. And I haven't got time to go into all of it, but let me just say this. We based it all on a coaching model, which, when applied to action learning, another very strong theoretical underpinning, and also very practical one, and entrepreneurship. When we combine those three together, we came up with a process that we've used with organizations, and those 5 P's are the following. First of all, you have to develop or define a problem. What is your problem? We call it the 5 P's. What is your problem? And because you want to spend a lot of time defining that problem by asking a lot of questions. Now, typically this is done in a group of 4 to 8 people, no more than about 8, no less than 4. And these people work on this problem until it's solved. But what's the problem? What's the innovation you're thinking about coming up with? We spend a lot of time asking questions. Now, typically there's a coach of some sort, somebody sort of referees the process. But the process is define the problem first. What is the problem? You don't want an elegant solution to the wrong problem, or an elegant innovation that nobody would buy or need. So the first thing we do is define the problem. The second thing is figure out what the present state looks like. What's the present look like? What's the present state? In other words, is anybody else working on this? Have you done a literature search? And for doctoral students, that we call it a literature search. But for everybody else, is anybody else working on this? Have you done a patent search? Have you checked dissertation abstract? Is somebody else researching this? You want to find that out first because you don't want to spend a lot of time on this. And of course, this goes in this direction, right? The next thing is you want to define the best possible. What's the possible future look like? In other words, in a best case scenario, a group needs to ask itself, what are the possibilities? What are the things that could happen with this thing if it went really well? And the next step is planning. Literally planning what you're going to do. What's the plan going forward? What's the plan going forward? What are you going to do? And what the group does is it works together in between each of the meetings that it has. And there are a number of meetings that take place when you work with a group. And there are a set of rules that goes with this. We explain them in the book in much more detail. But in between each of these meetings, you want to vet this plan with the possible customer, any possible customers you have. And because if you do, you're probably going to pivot. You're probably going to change your approach before you come back and go through this again. This is an iterative process that you go through. But the pivot's really important. The pivot comes from Steve Blank and Eric Ries's work on Lean Startup. And basically all the pivot is once you've got this plan through steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, then you want to go out and you want to show the customer some sort of a minimally viable product, or that's what they call it. And Ries calls it, and others, and Steve Blank. but some kind of a product or a process that you can demo for people and say, this is what we're thinking of, what do you think? And they might say, this is good, but this not so much. And you make some changes, and when you come back, we redefine the problem, we keep going at this, we keep sort of spinning this until we finally vet it out. But this process is a kind of a vetting process, and it's based on coaching, which has a very strong theoretical underpinning, which is asking questions. And again, the process is run by a facilitator who acts as a coach, and then he gets people in the group to actually ask the questions of the group about it, and then then the group begins to formulate this process and reiterate it time after time. And that's the process. Without a process, you can't really get to where you're going. Okay, and that's the innovation formula. Now, there's a lot more behind it, but I wanted to give you kind of an overview. You have to have, to get innovation, you got to have introduction. You have to have introduction. You have to have, in order to get innovation, you have to have talent. You have to have environment. And you have to have process. This is Steve Bettis at the George Mason Enterprise Center. Thanks for listening. We hope you will buy the book when it comes out. And if you have any questions, call us at any time. We do a lot of presentations on this, and I'm happy to come out to your place as well. Thanks very much.